Hey guys, so it's been a while since I put out a movie review, but I've seen a lot of movies over the last 4 or 5 days, so there's a lot of reviews coming, and I thought I'd start with the one I wasn't really looking forward to going into, but when I actually got out of it, I was amazed. It's time to talk about Pacific Rim.
Mike's Movie Reviews. Yeah.
Alright, Pacific Rim was awesome. That's the only way I can describe this movie. There's literally nothing I can think of that I did not enjoy about this movie. And going into it, I honestly thought, okay, this might be okay to watch. The first couple of previews, I had no interest in seeing it. I thought, okay, this is going to be a dumb action movie. Then the last trailer kind of showed me a bit of what the story was, and I was like, okay, maybe this will be okay, but I didn't think it'd be as good as I liked it. But this movie has become my favorite of the summer so far. I mean, it just blew me away. Visually, it blows anything else that I've seen out of the water. This makes Avatar look like it needed work. I thought the visuals in Man of Steel were cool, but this was much better. There's not a single moment throughout the movie that I didn't feel that these giant robots and these giant monsters were real, or that they could exist. Um, I mean, all the monsters and robots had like silly names, to represent the Japanese culture that all this stuff was based off of. But it was it was strangely believable, and the visuals were all amazing. The fights all amazing, and it all looked real. Like you couldn't I felt attached to these people and these robots and the robots themselves, and that's just a testament to where the technology is. It was great. Um, the story itself, I mean, it's not super original if you know anything about like Japanese manga and anime and stuff, but I'm not into that. So for me, it was a really neat, cool original story, and I like to see a new franchise like this get off of the ground. And since I'm recording this after the box office stuff came out, it's really a travesty that Grown Ups beat this movie because this movie was so much better than Grown Ups 2. I just don't see how more people would go see that over this movie. Um, like I said, the story wasn't original, but what happens is it starts off 7 years after these monsters have come out, and at the 7-year mark is where things start to go downhill, and more powerful monsters start coming over. So you pick up with the main character, and he's with his brother, and they're the big guys on campus, the ones that always bring down the monsters, and stuff goes wrong, and one of the brothers dies, and the other one left is your main character. Now this takes a jump to another 5, 6 years after the fact. So now we're here, and this giant robot, this Jaeger program, is being abandoned because the government feels that it's a waste of money and it's not working because all the Jaegers are just getting destroyed. The main guy in charge, Idris Elba, great in this part, he decides that their only chance left is to do an all-out assault and just destroy this bridge that connects the world between the monster aliens and the human world. And this is where we're introduced to the two scientists. You have the one who's your typical nerd, get picked on, kind of crippled, super smart, all numbers guy. Then you got the more daring Charlie Day character. And what I want to see is I want to see a movie just about Charlie Day's character. The next one doesn't even need to have the monsters and robots. They just give me a movie with the Charlie Day character because I think he did great in this movie, and his character was my favorite part of the movie. And because of his character, they had comedic relief. They did comedic relief right with Charlie Day. Another character that was in there just for a small amount of time, but was really funny, was the character played by Ron Perlman, who, I mean, steals the show a lot in his movies, and his scenes were really funny. And there's a post-credit scene involving him, which I missed and I had to find later myself. But make sure you stay through the credits to see his scene, because that's really neat. And hopefully the sequel, which I really, really hope there's a sequel, will involve him, and especially Charlie Day, because, like I said, Charlie Day, favorite part of the movie. But yeah, all the rest of the cast did a good job. The main character, whose name I can't think of, he did good. The Asian woman who becomes his partner, I mean, her story's a predictable one. You know, her family gets destroyed by these aliens, and she gets raised up by someone else, and you know, she's got trouble doing this drift thing that they use to control the pilots. Because to control the robots, you need to merge your mind with another pilot. And because of her trauma in the past, it was hard for her to control one. But once she gets it under control, then their monster just becomes badass. I mean, there's some scenes where, you know, they have plasma cannons, swords, and fighting the monsters, and just an awesome movie altogether. And the main character and this Asian woman, they had romance, but for the first time in a while, I didn't feel like the romance was forced at all, and I feel like it developed naturally. You can see where these two characters come from, these backgrounds would come together, especially when they're merging their minds together. I mean, that would probably tend to build a relationship. There's a lot of characters sacrificing themselves and doing things they didn't have to in the movie, and I thought that was really cool. I liked the way it ended. And what I thought was really cool about this movie is this. What I thought was really cool about this movie is this is a 2 hour and 11-minute movie, so it's not a short movie by any means, but you didn't feel it. It didn't feel like a super long movie. It felt short and it left me wanting more, which is a good thing for this kind of movies. In closing, you need to go see this movie. I haven't seen it in IMAX 3D yet. I plan on seeing it in IMAX 3D still. This movie is the first movie all year to get the best rating I have to offer a movie. This movie was amazeballs. So, like, comment, share, subscribe to this video. Subscribe to my channel, but you know, do all other stuff to this video. Let me know what you think below. Check out my other videos. One last thing, and this is kind of a spoiler, so that's why I put it here at the end. There's one plot hole with the movie. I'd like to explain to me how this makes sense. When one of the monsters comes through the hole, it sets off this EMP type burst that shuts down all the other Jaegers and the entire military base. But because the one machine has its own nuclear reactor, that's what it was able to run. But they transport it there using a bunch of helicopters, which I assume would be on the military base. And if so, shouldn't those have been shut down? I'm not sure. Let me know what you think about this below. Do all the stuff I said a couple seconds ago, and see ya.
Subscribe.